Loving you is easy. Hello, everyone. Let's lower this volume. Hello, everyone. Music is always pretty nice. It always gets too loud, though. Hi. I hope everyone's doing well. I was legitimately just here maybe like 30 minutes ago, but that's okay. So for the wallpaper, I do enjoy it myself. It's I use Wallpaper Engine. It's a pretty good software. You can get it for cheap when it's on sale. It's pretty nice. That gives me the dynamic of the software. I also do use another thing that gives me, I forget what it's called. I think it's like, fudge, slipping my mind. But it allows me to build custom components for my desktop. It's like widgets. I forget what it's called. It's slipping my mind. And there is probably a static version you can get. It's pretty nice. Just use this wallpaper. I use the static ones for my like iPad and like and stuff. It's pretty cool. And hello. So we were just here maybe not long ago, and now we're here really just learning about UNIX. It's going to be a pretty chill session. It is pretty awesome. So feel free to ask any questions along the way if you have any curiosity you want to ask. I will also get some Q&A as I'm one of the newer coaches to the team. This is probably my 5th stream with you guys. And that'll happen during Global INIT Week or Global Hack Week INIT. It's pretty funny because this Global Hack Week INIT is also my first time out here as a coach. So there is a lot to learn, and there's also a lot to communicate with you guys. I am not. Yes, I was here just teaching Python. I'm not new to the hacker community. I run a hackathon myself. I've been organizer for 2-3 years now. I also been participating in hackathon for a while. I do take these night sessions more of a chill one. So feel free to ask any questions if you got any. I'll be happy to answer anything, including how I got involved, anything you like, actually. So before we get started, with your standard procedure, I will be dropping the check-in link. Please do check in. I would love everyone to get their cool, nice stickers because it is pretty cool. So make sure you check in right now. I throw the link up into the chat. But yeah, feel free to talk in chat. I am pretty responsive. Let's make this fun. I am glad to hear that. I want to run probably AI track myself maybe at a time because I think it's pretty fun, especially getting into AI. I think even just understanding the conceptual and then getting into a bit of the introduction to coding would be pretty cool to teach. Might do that one other time. I am glad you did enjoy the other sessions. I've been trying to keep it really beginner friendly, so I think I did a Python session. I did, which is just right now, I'm doing an introduction to Unix for people who are wanting to get started with Linux, hosting on server or getting a Raspberry Pi. It's pretty useful. As well, if you go to any work environment, you'd probably be navigating in some sort of Unix environment. So knowing some command shortcuts and some cool things is always pretty cool. I think I did one on Python, one on Notion, one on GitHub. This is my Unix one. I also did a game night. It's been a pretty fun week for myself, I do say so. If you haven't checked in, please make sure you check in. It's what allows you to do a lot of things around here. And bringing back one of my favorite tools to always hop in and just start hop in a sandbox and just start coding and doing whatever is we're going to bring back Repel.it, or I think they're now Repellit.com. I still have the old link because I've been using it since before they changed their name. But it's a great tool. It generates an environment for you, so it allows you to get started, including a Bash Linux environment or Unix environment. And a lot of these commands are shared between a lot of Unix shells. So we're going to go over a lot of commands in the beginning, and then we're going to start writing a bit of Bash script. If you want to get more advanced, it's pretty cool what you can do in it. But yeah, that is the current plan for tonight. I will be showing you some of my own neat tricks and stuff, and we'll be using Replit.com or Repel.it is what I like to call it still. But we're back here, so we're gonna create a new one again, and this time they're great. They have almost anything you want to learn, right? So if you want to hop in C++, if you want to hop in Node, legitimately anything you can think of, you can hop in, open a sandbox, and start coding away. So we're going to do our bash shell. So official language, bash. This title kind of sucks, so we're going to pick a newer title like this one. Keeping it short a bit in case I share it later. For anyone who's joining us right now, make sure you check in. The check-in link you should still be able to see it. It's pretty close. If you need it, do feel free to ask. We're going to be using repellit.com. I still have it as repel.it because I've been using it for a while. It's a free tool. It's great. It allows you to hop in an environment sandbox super quick and get going. And it's really good for learning. Every time I have a question, I need it for any language, I just hop in and do this. Yes, this is for beginners. It's really starter friendly. We're going to go over a lot of basic navigations you would start to learn if you were, let's say, starting a basic university, at a university or even a high school, and they have a Linux server or a Unix server or any sort of way. If you're on a Mac, if you're using PowerShell, a lot of these commands will carry with you. And then we're going to go over some more bash thing because a lot of places uses the bash shell as its base shell. We're going to learn some shortcuts, some fun stuff, and it's going to be chill. We're just going to hang out, learn a bit of bash, and call it a night. And a lot of this stuff, you can always learn it and teach it to your friends, etc., because those help hammer in concepts, right? So don't ever be afraid to show someone else your skills, and they will always do the same, show something back. But yeah, so first, let's create a repel bash and just create it. Once that's done, you should get something that looks like this with your file, your console, and your shell. We're actually going to be utilizing the shell today because this is what we're going to be really working on. It is beginner friendly again for people that are coming in. Feel free to ask questions in chat. If you haven't checked in, make sure you check in. I can still see we're ticking away slowly. But yeah, we'll give it a few minutes. And if anyone has any questions to start with, we can answer those. If not, I'm going to crack myself a drink since we've been here for a while. It's water, I promise you. It's just the glass I have laying around. Okay, cool. So let me know in chat when you get your project going, because it'll be a lot easier to keep up with. We're actually going to X out the scripting page because we're actually not going to do any scripting this time. It's that we'll take a bit more advanced things, and we're going to really focus on is navigating a UNIX shell and getting cool things set up. So first things first is we're going to learn some. Actually, we're going to use this more as a notepad, note document. I'm actually going to add a new file. We're going to call it, let's call it notes.txt. It's a simple text document. We're actually going to get rid of this main shell because we're really going to just be navigating around today, and we're not really going to be writing any scripts. You guys don't even have to worry about this note. I'm just noting this so when you guys follow along, you guys will be able to see stuff here. We're really going to be working in this shell over here. Let me know in the chat when you're at this stage, or at least get your bash repellit set up, or replit. They probably hate that I can't pronounce that because I just don't know how you would probably even pronounce that. But yeah. As soon as some people tell me they get set up, we'll get going. The link again is replit.com, repl.it. Here, I will actually drop the better link that they probably prefer me start using because they're off this link now. And we'll drop this in chat one more time for you guys. If you haven't got set up environment, go here to set up your environment. And voila. If you haven't checked in, make sure you do check in. I'm going to get started with some of our basics, right? Because this is note, I will be dragging this over a bit more. So first thing is we're going to learn a bit of our navigation skills. Our navigation is really important because, as you can imagine, if you work in any Unix or in Linux environment, you might not have a graphical interface or a graphical user interface, also known as a GUI. So we're gonna be really honing in our navigational skills. So first thing is learning what CD. CD stands for change directory. So I can do CD, enter, it will bring me to the root. Okay, now we're at the root. So how do you know what's here or what is anything? So one CD, just CD by itself, I should probably use a better character. So I'm going to use tilde. The CD brings you to the root. And then there's another thing. It's doing CD minus brings you back to where you came from. So bring you back to your previous directory. This is one that I find rarely people know, and it's a really helpful one. As you're navigating around, you might hop over one ping and come back. Most are command line interface. I had a problem in my exams first time. Then I learned cheat sheets. I don't know about that one, but there is a lot to learn and just navigating around. So you can write yourself a cheat sheet, look over them before exam. It's actually pretty useful. But you see how we just went from no place, it told you exactly where we are, to where we're going now. The next thing we're going to learn is there's another thing called cd ... This command, what it does, it brings you one directory out. So it'll bring you to your parent directory of the current directory you're in. We're going to go over some of the CD make directory because those those are navigating. We're also going to learn a bit more cool tricks in those navigational. So things you might use less than just basic navigation. For example, touch. We're going to set up some RC files. I'm going to teach a bit of them, but not super in depth. I'm going to teach a bit of, probably not even that much of it, a bit of how to create a file safely. We're going to go over how to write some custom bash things that like will load and be really cool. But yeah, so we're going to start with learning some basic navigational skills though. So if you know this, that's okay. You might learn something new still because I find that not many people know CD minus brings you to directory previously. And then like CD ... Everyone usually knows this one because you use that a lot, right? So we're going to use CD ... right now. You can see it brings you one directory out. Next thing we're going to learn is, let's see, the music stop. We would really love some music to go along today. Let's see. Cool, there we go. So next thing we're going to try out today is our ls command. ls stands for, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it stands for list system. That's always been my understanding of it. But if you run ls, you can see it lists everything you have access to. If you can see right now, in the previous directory we're in, it was home runner, global hack, we can init. That's your root, gives you here. So now this is what list system does. Now here's some cool things in list system. So if you do ls by itself, it just lists your file system. That is good to hear. After this, you should be pretty good in navigating a Linux system. So now we're going to use tilde again. We'll do ls-l. ls-l lists your file system in list format. So you see how this is a pretty bad example because we only have one file. So we're actually going to teach something prior to this so we can utilize this a bit better. I'm going to learn touch real quick. Touch creates, what this does, it's actually just a one command. I don't use any of the arguments. I don't think there's many arguments that are that useful. So it creates a file with the name, right? So I'm going to first cd into, because cd also into something, right? So cd into go happy init. And then I'm going to do a touch I'm going to do touch, and this creates a file. So I'm going to touch a file. I'm going to name it, what do we call it? Actually, if we do ls right here, you can see the node file is here. Because this node file is this file directory is actually what's in here. So we actually already created something, right? So let's say I want to create that node file without doing it over here in this file system. I will just do touch, and I can call it notes 2.0. And then you would want to give it the extension you want this to be, txt. You see how now that just popped up to the left. I am glad. And for users who really want to use Linux but wants to, especially gamers, and still have access to your Windows machine, there's something called WSL. You can always look into getting that set up. It gives you Linux capabilities directly inside Windows. It's also Windows substitute Linux. I actually utilize this when I don't have to be in a full Linux environment, but I do really enjoy Linux. Only caveat is a lot of things I do use on a day-to-day basis only exist for Windows. It makes me sad, but it's okay. I have VMs that are in Linux. I had WSL. It takes a bit to load on my computer just because I have a lot of things going on, but this will give you a full Linux machine directly in your Windows, which is great because you can practice navigating around using it. But yeah, you can do a boot. The only issue with that is configuring it and is ease of navigation. To be honest, if you use WSL2, this is just getting a bit sidetracked, but if you use WS2, if you use Kali Linux, right, you can do. Have you tried WS2 with Kali Linux and installing the full entire system? They have a version where you can directly pull in the whole Kali Linux above your Windows. So like you'll get the Kali Linux toolbar on top, you get your Windows toolbar on the bottom, and it's great to be able to utilize the Linux tools in a Windows environment. It's actually pretty cool. It's really good if you want to get into CTFs and stuff. It's a pretty cool tool. There's also another version where we'll just bring up the whole entire Kali Linux GUI directly onto your Windows machine, so you can navigate between both of them. But if you think WS shows our limit, you can always emulate. Or actually not emulate, because emulate is when you emulate hardware is emulation, it's virtualization. You always virtualize a software, so we always virtualize Linux. That's what I do usually, just because I do too much on a day-to-day basis. I need to stay in Windows. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But okay, going back to what we're saying is touch creates files, right? So we just saw this, and another thing going along with touch is something called make dir. Make dir stands for make directory. So I would do make directory. So there's a few cool things with make directory. Actually, there's not that many cool things with make directory. It's just mkdir. Then you just name a directory, right? So I can do notebook. This is as a joke, right? So now you can see there's a directory inside. So as we practice our moving skills, we can change directory and go into notebook. Notebook, right? So now we're in notebook. You can see the slash tells you where you are. But if you're ever not sure where you are, right? All you can always do is we'll learn another command right now. It's called pwd. It's path. I think there's a word in between. It's basically, I'm pretty sure it's path of working directory is what that stands for. But all you got to know is pwd. It'll give you your current working directory path. And like if I do cd again, which brings you again to the root, if you just use cd by itself without giving it a directory, we can be pwd. We can see we're actually not at the root of this machine. We're at the root of where they set it is. Oh, it's print working directory. There you go. Print working directory. Thank you. I don't always remember my acronyms, but it's print working directory. So now if we do cd minus, we'll go back to where we were. Let's touch up some more files, right? So let's touch like page 1.txt, touch page 2.txt, touch page 3.txt. And now if you go over here, we open this, you can see there's 3 more text files in here. So next thing we're going to learn is going to go back to our ls. If we do ls, you can see it lists them horizontally. If you want in the list view, what we showed earlier was ls-l. This gives it to you in list view, as well as it tells you your permissions are set to each file. You can do that. that is any you can actually always feed it multiple commands as well. You can run a command after a command as well. We don't want to get too complex, but that is true. You can always pass in multiple things as like if you move, you can always move multiple things at once. But you can always do. We'll do this since someone brought it up. It's actually pretty cool too. If my computer doesn't freeze on me, that is. Hello. Okay, I think I might be frozen. Okay, let's try. This is working. So it's not that. It might be this, which I probably hit a key. My keyboard. So I'm gonna actually go over here, go back to the shell. Oh, does anyone remember? There is a way to get unstuck on these. I don't remember. Let's see. We're just gonna clear. Did not help. I'm so stuck. That's pretty crazy. There is you can sometimes get stuck in your terminal. There is a shortcut to get out of it. I don't recall, so I'm gonna start just hitting keys on the keyboard. Or I can look it up too. That's also probably a better idea. Did I hit something? Let's see. No. I forgot what key it was. So there is a way if you get stuck in your keyboard, you can. It's not Control-C. Control-C gets out of the thing. Sometimes your terminal might freeze when you're working in it. It's a different command. Control-C gets you out of an actual process. It's Control-Cancel. I don't need a cancel because there's nothing like actually cancel out of. I'm just stuck. I'm locked in my terminal. Let's see. So this is where Google comes into great play and never hurts. So let's do it together. How to unfreeze a terminal. So unfreeze the terminal with Control Q. So Control Q. See if that works. That did not work for me. Let's try another one. There's a few methods for this. This is pretty unfortunate because I don't know how I got stuck here in the first place. Let's try something else. So let's see how to unfreeze a terminal. Let's see. So Control S, Control Q, shortcut to unfreeze, all to unfreeze after Control S. It's always okay to look up commands. Let me see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, well, or it was just lagging. I have no clue. It's working now, and that's all that matters. So what we were showing earlier, I'm going to clear first. You can also type clear. I will list that as a command, actually. Clear. So clears your screen. Don't worry about it. Yeah, there was someone knocking. I told them to go away. They were trying to bother me as I was teaching. Pretty unfortunate. It's a good thing I didn't beat them up. Next time, if you bother me, I'll beat you up. But it's okay. So I'm so kidding. But so yeah, so we can touch multiple files, right? So we can touch. We made page 1, 2, and 3. Let's do page 4.txt, page 5.txt, page 6.txt. I'm surprised you can hear that. I need to fix that. But you can see. So I touched that. If I go over here, oh, I wasn't in the file directory, which is okay. We're gonna learn something new. This is a great learning opportunity. So we just learned ls-l, which will show you the permission of things, right? So ls-l will show you the permission, who owns the files, what's the file's name. So you can see we're now too far on the route. The next command we're going to learn is mv, which stands for move, right? So this allows you to move files. So you would just pass in the files you want to move. So what it takes is mv file you want to move and directory you're moving it to, right? So I am going to do mv. I'm going to do, you can also do multiple in this scenario. So I'm going to do page 4.txt, page 5.txt, page 6.txt, and then last thing I'll give it the directory I want to move it to, which will be a notebook. And then if I do ll now, or ls-l now, format long. Yes, that is the thing for it. So L stands for long. I like to call it lists, but same thing. So it shows you long as in shows you more information, right? So it shows you this is D, tells you it's directory. This is rewrite permission, read permission, read permission. It's in three bits. The first one's telling if it's directory or not, then it's in 3-bit and permission by different type of owner class. We're not going to get that deep into it, but you can always read about it. But yeah, this is really true. It's also called long, but I like to just do it. I usually like to do this because it tells you details like date of time it was created, as well as like how much file it's costing, etc. So now we're going to do our CD again, and this time we're going to go back into Notebook. And now we're going to do an ls-l again. So you can see now all that has been displayed. And here's another cool one. This is one less people know about. It's one of my favorite commands, actually, ls-a. But A will only give you lists. I hate doing this. So what we call these are flags, right? So for flags, if you do 1 dash, you provided a character. If you do 2 dashes, you provided a word. So this one is list all. So it lists everything in that directory, regardless if they're hidden. It's really good for looking at hidden files, right? So you can see that there's actually no hidden file in this directory, and you can see ... It brings you out one directory. That's saying it's this directory, and then ... is the previous directory. So we go ... we went out one directory. Now we can do ls-a again, and you can see there's a couple hidden files here. There's a file called .replit. There's a file called, there's replit.nix. There's another file called that. There's a .cache, and those are hidden files. So they don't show up on your normal ls unless you do a -a. The cool thing about flag is you can combine them. This is officially my favorite way to look at a file system. It's ls-la. This combines the previous 2 commands we just learned together. So if we do ls-la, voila, you can see our hidden things and all the information about them. Hidden files are .files, but you can technically hide files that are not .files. You just give it the hidden flag and stuff. But most of the case, hidden files are .files. That is correct. So speaking of hidden files, we're actually going to touch a file. We're going to teach you how to create a hidden file because I was going to do that because we're going to create something called bashrc. A bashrc is every time when you reload, I think it stands for reload cache is how I like to think about it. So every time you reload bash, it pulls in, it runs these commands automatically. So when touch a bashrc, you can see now I have a bashrc. We're going to work on this file later. The reason we can see this is because on Replit made it so even .files aren't hidden. They still will show up here. Normally they wouldn't show up here because they would normally be hidden on your actual Linux or Unix machine. But we'll work on that later as we get more into actual bash. As we're still learning some of these commands. So if you did not know, we're going to do we're going to do, oops, am I frozen again? No, okay, CD, and we're going to go back into our notebook. Now we're in a notebook, we're going to do ls-la. You can see everything listed, and here is a few ways to edit a file. So you can always, I actually don't think this will work. gedit is graphical edit. I highly doubt this is built in, especially because I'm on a simulated, not even simulated, virtualized console. Would you like to run gedit install, but was located in Nix? Oh, let's see if this works. To repel Nix. So okay, well that didn't work, but that's okay. We didn't need that to work. What we're going to do now, instead, we're going to teach you some of the other commands. So one of my favorite is vim. Well, I was trying to show people. I was about to go into vim. Actually, nano is my favorite for beginner. Vim is what I really like for a more advanced user. There's also Emacs. Honestly, I just don't like Emacs, but we're going to show all of them. But no, I was getting there. I was going to show people gedit because new user might be better at navigating with gedit. Gedit essentially will be like opening it up in a graphical interface like what we're doing here. But we will show you Vim first. Actually, we're going to show you Nano first because Nano helps you by providing some commands on the bottom, then Vim. So we're going to do Nano. And if we do, I hope they have this installed. I hope they do. Page. No, it's okay. I am always happy to hear people sharing because I definitely don't know every single thing out there. And there's always so many cool tricks and tips out there. So feel free to hop in and share That's absolutely fine by me. Because if I don't really if it really bothers me, I can totally just ignore you, right? I didn't choose to ignore you because I think it's really cool for people to get involved in chat and share what they have discovered and their knowledge. So we're gonna do nanopage.txt. Watch this also not work because it's not installed. Let's hope it is. It's not. They probably didn't install any of the text editors. Vim. Did this work? Oh, okay. That's crazy. Vim worked. Let me try Vim page 1.txt. Oh, it's not the full Vim. Okay, that's okay. These are commands. If you're actually on a Unix machine or have these installed, these are called text editors, right? But they're directly on their command line interface text editors. They directly work in your command line. That's okay. We will move without them because we have that built-in text editor. There's a clear up here. Well, if you start relearning your command, run a clear command. That'll clear out your screen. We'll save these for later. Now it brings up text editor. Actually, I will do this for you. Actually, I will bring up my terminal and I will show you on my own computer. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm logging into my terminal. Because I'm logging into a remote host somewhere. So give me 1 second. I will show you. It's a text editor that's built into your actual command line interface. I'm gonna cd TA. Give me uno minutos to get ready for you guys. Hang in there. Let's see if this works. Oh, because I was in the wrong shell. That makes so much more sense. Let me see. Now I'm gonna do. You can probably hear my terminal yelling at me because I keep trying to autocomplete something that doesn't exist. Okay, clear. Actually, we're gonna do these. Okay, clear. Okay, so I just custom did a bit of my shell, so there's some information. Actually, I need to make sure I don't leak information I shouldn't be. So give me 1 second. cd ls. I'm just using the command. I can talk out loud. So ls cd. So I just cd out of directory ls. I'm going to do an mkdir. I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to call it global hack week init. And then I'm going to cd into global hack week init. I'm going to do ls. I'm going to do. Okay, cool. So we're going to now do here. So now we're going to actually start doing this. I've seen Z shell, K shell, everything. I think the most common one is bash shell. So that's what I like to teach is bash shell. But any shell is okay. You can always learn a scripting language for that shell, so there's no biggie there. So first, I'm gonna touch a note.txt. We're gonna do first nano note.txt. This is what nano is. It's a basically a text editor, right? So I can write things in here. So like, hello chat. Let me pull this up a bit so you can actually see. Look at that. Hello chat. And then this allows me to basically like type code, right? So if this is a Python file, I can code in Python. If this is a C++ file, I can code in C++. And then what I do like about Nano is you can see on the bottom, they give you hints to how to use some of these commands. So it's a lot easier for beginners. So like you want to save, they prompt you and everything, and then you can save it. Another one you can use is called Vim. So Vim, we can do note.txt. See, this is another well-known editor. And then for Vim, the thing is, you see there's nothing to tell you what to do. And to actual edit in the Vim, you have to hit I first to do enter text. And then to exit, you have to hit escape. And then you have to give it a command. So right quit, etc. So it's a lot harder to use. That's why if you're a beginner, I really recommend using Nano. It's a lot easier because they tell you how to use it. The up arrow caret key actually is Control C allows you to leave, right? Control X allows you to leave and everything. So it's a lot easier to use. I will leave this on the side in case I need to come back to this in the stream. But yeah, so we just went over some of the file system. This is really true. But Bash is the more widely seen in terms of servers. I feel like I've seen most of them come Bash up, but most of them have more than one shell loaded in. So you have K shell, I don't know about Fish. I've actually never seen that one. I've seen Z shells, Z shell, kernel shell, etc. There's so many shells. They're all just really the same thing, right? You can write your own shell. I actually written my own shell a bit for our operating system class, so it's like they really underlining all work really similar, just what features they come with by default. The most common I've seen is Bash shell. But yeah, so we're going back here. So now we just saw how text editors work. We also made our bash RC. We went over clear, some move command, some ls command, our path, our make directory, our touch, our CDs. So another thing to learn is how to rename a directory. So move actually provides two functionality. It also provides rename. So if you provide it two files, it will rename the first file. It's to the second file's name you provided, right? So I'm gonna first do a ls-la to look at this, right? So let's say page 6 is, I don't want it to be page 6. I want it to be page 0. What I would do is I would do mv page 6. And then I would change it to page 0.txt. And now if I do ls-la, you can see, voila, I changed the name of that file. So kernels and shell are actual, it's the command line interface. So it's what you interact with your actual computer. It's what you provided something and then interfaces with your actual hardware, the kernel, and the kernel interfaces with hardware. There's a lot more terms and complexity. I'm really simplifying it a lot. So the point of a shell and kernel, the shell provides commands to the kernel acts on those commands. A text editor is just like a Word document or Notepad on your computer. So Notepad on your computer, like this thing that comes with it, that is a text editor. And there is just text editor built in that works in your command line. So like when we use Vim and Nano, these are text editor. I call them command line text editors, right? So text editors. And that's what both of these are. These are command line text editors. But these are not shell. Shell is, for example, I don't know if I can do this. I will try. I don't know if they have any other shell. K shell is the next one I've seen most commonly used. No, they don't have it. But you can load in different shell. Actually, I might be able to do it here. I forgot. Is it our shell? I forgot. There's another shell on this computer. But essentially, a shell is a program somewhere written for you to interact with the kernel. An editor is what you interact with documents, like any files on your computer. But yeah. I honestly don't know your default text editor, but they generally come because there's those different versions of install of Ubuntu you can have. But I know almost for sure you should come with Vim, Nano, your basics, and then they usually come with gedit, which is graphical edit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any actual Linux users, because I really just use these tools. I don't actually have the Linux machine. When I do use them, I still use the same tools I use. Where I make sure to install the same tools I use. So anyone feel free to add to that if you know. But yeah. So as we talk about that, let's truck along a bit. So now I'm going to show you some cool things with Bash you can do, right? So we already created our Bash RC. Our RC file essentially is a configuration file that starts every time you start Bash. So if I write just Bash right now, right, you can see that, oops, that's not Bash. If I do Bash, you can see that this actually brought me a user. Because I just entered the Bash environment. So at the LL, you can see that I have my page.txt and stuff. Oh, so I guess runner already has a Bash RC in it because LL didn't work earlier. So if I do LL-A cd LL. Oh, that's crazy. cd LL. Oh, actually, so we weren't even fully in the actual Bash. That's pretty funny. So they emulated a similar thing to Bash. So now we're in a more of the actual Bash environment. So Vim isn't, they actually don't have Vim installed. Nano is not installed. There is a way you can tell which operating system you're on. But yeah. Oh, I forgot. You're right. They have some custom code here. Nano is pre-installed on a lot of distro. VI is installed. It's definitely on every Unix it is. There's also, depending on a simpler Unix, there's also other tiny ones, but this is a pretty common. So VI is the previous is the Vim is the text of the predated Vim. A lot of people use VI still. I use Vim because I just seeing it actually installed in a lot of places. Nano is also great. There's other ones like Emacs. I hate Emacs, but they do exist, and there's actually a lot more. If you use Atom before, you have Atom I think they have a graphical and non-graphical version. You also can use Sublime Text. You can use Notepad, Notepad++, and the list really just goes on, just really finding a groove. But yeah, so this is pretty cool actually, because now we're really not where I don't think we're meant to be in this area, but you can see what the actual Bash actually looks like now, right? So you can see that here, if I do CD, we know our root is actually here, which means this is, you see, they ever have a Bash RC. That's not even the one I created. So if I come here and delete this one, they already have a Bash RC over there. So if I delete this file, that's the Bash RC we're running on. That's why LL works. So we can totally take a look at. For sure, VI is basically a more simpler version of Vim. So if you use VI already, Vim should be really easy to pick up. Nano is a lot user friendly. I started with Emacs because that's what we started with, and then I picked up Nano myself because Emacs kind of just sucks, and in my personal opinion, does not be yours. And then I picked up Vim afterwards because it's one of the more customizable, widely used ones. I think it's more for advanced user though. But yeah, so let's take a look at, so the next command we're actually going to learn is, where's my note tags? Here it is. So the next command we're actually going to learn is called cat. I actually don't know what this stands for. Cat, my guess is capture, to be honest with you. But essentially, it will print out what the file data looks like without you going into it. So I can do cat.bashrc. This will print everything that's in bashrc. So you see, they've written a lot of shortcuts already for the bashrc. And you can tell it's a Debian computer. So this is a high chance this is either an Ubuntu computer or a Debian. We can probably tell. So like they have their bashrc written, and this is what some of the scripting I was going to talk about earlier. So we actually probably have to edit this script. But let's do this. So now we're going to do, so I wonder if I can actually open this. I might not be able to. show hidden files. So you can see hidden files now. Config files. These aren't that useful. So they probably have a main shell. It's probably what. So we probably went bash, probably in a mock-up bash or something. So if I do main.sh. Okay, so I think I was right. Cat means capture, but that's my guess. Oh, is it concatenate? That's pretty cool. So let's note that actually. We always learn something. So that's actually pretty funny because I would not think it was concatenate. Cool. That's a great fact. And then let's try this. So what is Oh, so this is an Ubuntu server. That's pretty funny. So if I do, pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it is, but it's good enough to learn some of your basic navigation. I might actually let's see. Is there any editor? Let me try VI. Let me see if I can do. Free. I don't have any of my editing tools. Okay, yeah. Pretty funny is we can't use anything in here. I was gonna show you how to create bash RC and edit it on here, but it looks like we can't. But we can still learn some of it, and then I can show you it actually on my own computer. So I'm glad I booted this up. And let's see. So how we're gonna do this is, actually I will probably have to get to my root actually and get to my bash RC. ls cd ll. I would like ll-a. Then we would do. I'm gonna use vim .bash rc. So you can see this is my bash RC, and I have a bash RC for aliases. So actually, I'm gonna go out by one. Then I will go into my alias. So I have it. So if there's alias, it will render my alias. So my alias is stored somewhere else. I'm gonna go over what alias is right now. Actually, vim /bash alias. One second. Actually, let me delete this. I don't. So what alias is? Alias is what you can shortcut name something. So I can do alias, ls. So alias, and you name it right. So I'm gonna name it ll. I'm gonna name it la actually, and then I will want this to equal, and whatever the command is, you want it to run, right? So it's gonna be ls dash la, and this will allow me to shortcut things. So I can. So I'm basically saying whenever you see la, you replace it with ls dash la. So another possible alias is doing like ll and just taking it with this. So what it's telling is whenever you see ll, you replace it directly with ls dash l. and I will show an example of this. I have to bring this out. This is really complicated because I have to make sure there's certain things I can't show. I wasn't expecting that to not work, so I'm gonna clear that. And then I'm gonna do, if I do L, actually, there's so many procedures I gotta take care of. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna do just a global hack week. Hello. Okay, cool. So you see how LL right there brought up the thing without me typing ls-l. So that also all works right there. But if you're on an actual terminal, you can play around. So I'm going to write a few of them out actually in a notepad. So we have alias. So all you provided is alias, then what you want to call the alias, right? So the name of the alias, and then you do is the equal right there, and then you provide the command. And that means every time, it doesn't have to be a command, actually, it could be a word or anything. So anytime it sees this, it will directly, what am I saying? The shell would directly replace whatever this is, alias, with whatever is over here. So it doesn't have to be command, it could be anything, to be honest with you. It's generally a command, so you can be faster and learn shortcuts to things, but it could be anything. And to be honest, with this limitation on the shell, there's only so much we can go over. I think it was pretty cool. You can see how they color things differently. There's always, if you do ls, you can always do, I think it's -- color is equal to auto. So this will automatically color things for you. It's pretty cool. So cd, if I do like global, if we do ls, right, it might not, see, I did color auto, so it automatically does the color for you. So you can see the notebook comes in a different color, etc. So there's all sort of cool things there. Because we can't do too much, I think we're going to switch over to Q&A mode. There's probably other Unix command I can still show, as I'm going to think of them. But does anyone have any questions? And by far means there's probably people in chat who are more advanced in Linux than I am. So if you want to share any tips or tricks, feel free to do that. No one has any questions. Because I like to, so that way I can move them, right? So like there's certain commands I always alias out. So instead of moving my whole bash RC, I might have certain things like, if you know, like PS1, I usually do a custom PS1 and then a per thing, and I just load in the whole bash file where there might be certain commands I can't take with me. So for aliases that I know I carry around with me all the time between Unix systems, I write them into an actual bash alias file and just load that. So that's one file I can port everywhere. And I don't have to worry about that, right? So there's certain commands I always alias out, like ls-l. If I'm doing like React development, I always alias some of them. I always alias out some like GitHub, like Git commands. So those are always alias out to the same thing. And regardless of what system I'm in, I just move my alias file with me and they just come. That's the only reason why they're in a separate file. You can totally just write them directly in your bash RC if you're only using one system, but I do move around between a few Unix systems, so I like to keep them separate. Any other questions? Any questions about anything in general? I personally prefer Kali, the Kali family of distros. For the sake, I do like cybersecurity, and I'm really getting into cybersecurity and doing CTF and stuff, and they have a lot of great built-in tools for that type of stuff. But after that, I would probably go with Ubuntu just because it's a lot more user-friendly, and a lot of places do use that. It's probably those two. But Kali is usually my go-to. Ubuntu is if I really have to. Debian is also pretty all right. But yeah, that's probably it. I will actually full screen this text file for people if they want to take a look at. I will download this and post this later, as well as open this project up and post that too. No, I cannot. Just kidding. A lot of the higher advanced commands you can definitely always look up for their usage. Yeah, for sure. So those are there's some. You just remember think of other commands that like I'm trying to think of simple command people might actually use. There's one that's pretty cool. It's called. Actually, we're gonna do a few things real quick. So I am gonna go back and CD into my notebook. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna. This notes are is out here, right? There's another thing. It's called grep, right? It's a grep, and then so let's say I want to look for ls, the string ls in the file notes. Am I stuck? It's a notes.txt. This is basically a search command. You can use grep and pass it a string or multiple strings. There's a lot of things you pass it, and it will go through and search your document for what you want. I think that's a really cool one, especially if you are searching for things in a longer file. So grep is a search command. So the format is it's grep. Then it is your search criteria. Well, I'm just gonna search, then search thing, and then the follow thing is file you're searching. You can also search a lot bigger things, but you can look those stuff up. Yes, they are. They're both Debian based, but I use all of them. You didn't see anything on the shell. Can I maximize? I didn't see anything on shell. Can you maximize it? I can make this bigger. I don't know if that helps. Here, what I'll do is I'll clear it. So what I did was LL, so this shows you where I am. I'm going to do a grep ls.notes. You can see it pulled up everything that had ls inside the notes document. That is super true. Let's look at that actually. Another cool thing, remember, we can always Google, right? So Google is pretty much your friend. It is widely used in the industry. So like SED, right? You just look it up and do SED UNIX utility that presses and transforms text using simple compact programming language, right? There's a whole tutorial on it, and you can always learn about it without here. But like some of the stuff is more advanced, and we generally try to avoid a bit more of advanced stuff, especially at intro level. And it's to make sure people at least get a hang of navigating, because it's really hard to do more advanced things if you can't even navigate your that is facts. But it's really hard to do more advanced things if you can't even navigate the tool you're using, right? It's like not knowing how to click around your computer, but trying to write code on a computer you don't even know how to click on. Documentation is your best friend. Documentation will take you far, really far. But yeah, this might be it for tonight. Let me see if there's anything coming up after me. Next thing won't be happening until 2:30 a.m. So there is a break for everyone. I will sit around and chill with everyone for a bit, as they see fit. I'll publish this as I am here and upload some of this, and then we'll probably chill for a bit. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Learn your first UNIX first UNIX. Text. Publish, copy, and then no, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presence yellow table 7. It really helped. I love you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, because I really love when people do, because hey, don't hog it all. You help someone else will help you along the way, and you're doing great. I do want to give a shout out to everyone who stuck around for the whole thing, and especially if you're a more advanced user, it's always nice to see people hang out and chat. But yes, feel free to always drop things into the chat because it helps me learn, helps you learn, helps everyone learn. And even as a hacker, even as a coach MLHer, you're always actively learning. Like I just recently learned React, so probably might do a workshop on React really quick. Like, it's really cool to just learn something and then teach it. It really reinforces what you know. So it's really nice way. But as sorry, I am probably rambling a bit because I'm trying to post this as I'm talking. For sure. I appreciate you guys coming out. If you have any questions about anything, or any comments, concern, we're just chilling for a bit now. Feel free to drop them. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let me see. Global Hack Week INIT. Published. X this out. I will enlarge this, and I will actually download this as well for everyone. And that is for the purpose of if anyone wants a cheat sheet, you got a cheat sheet now. It's pretty cool. I hate this music sometimes. I don't know why it pauses a lot. It's pretty bothersome. You know what's funny is streaming with music is such a hard thing. It's like you have to be so careful what you play and everything. And I don't want to get like deleted yet. Not yet. Maybe one day. Like at like my last like INIT maybe I'll do something wild, but not now yet. Here is the UNIX cheat sheet of the things we went over tonight. Follow along with the video later. So where's everyone from? What time is it? Because it's about to be super late for me. Where's everyone from? I'm gonna gauge this population. Jersey, Texas. I'm actually flying out to Texas tomorrow. You know what? That's actually so funny. New York, that's pretty cool. I actually have to pack after the stream so I can fly out to Texas. It's actually pretty funny. I heard it's hot out there, so I'm trying to not explode when I head down to Texas. It's like what 100 to like 105. It's pretty wild. New Jersey, that's pretty cool. New York, those are pretty cool. I'm from the East Coast too, so I'm glad to see people throw up. I'm not drinking, by the way. I always have to say that as a disclaimer. What's everyone's favorite programming language? As I post this, let's see. So I will probably open this, hopefully. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second. Rust is pretty cool. I actually haven't done Rust myself. I definitely heard of it. That's okay. Because I really don't have a favorite either. There are really a lot of them are really cool. But Rust is pretty good. I've heard good things about it. I still want to look at it myself one day. That is actually pretty impressive because he's such a low level language. I use Python, C, C++, the most. I've probably done like React recently a lot because I've been doing front end development. But yeah, I agree. C is not the easiest to use. Also, C attached text. But yeah, it's quite crowd, huh? I guess I might sign off soon. Then everyone should probably go to bed. See, I feel that I kept pushing back learning front end stuff, but then I was forced to. You get to one point where like it's no other option. They kind of just force you, and then you just got to do it. I probably learned React and JS and start developing in it in like maybe a bit under a week, and then like it's not too bad, especially with previous programming experience. So, and I think you got it, and then I do it in UNIX, or I do it in an Ubuntu machine. Pretty fun. I spun up machines sometimes for my projects, just for the fun of it. They are pretty dope, and that is exactly what we're here for, is teaching you concept that you can use towards projects. And again, I'm always learning, so I'm always looking for the next language to learn. So I think on my list is probably like OCaml, because it's actually used in some places. I'm gonna pick up maybe one or two more SQL languages. Pick up a bit more of the full cycle of processes. That's pretty cool. So I've deployed applications, but not fully by like myself. So I really want to do the whole deployment. I deploy application by like doing it through like AWS and having already like cycles put together. So there's still a lot for myself to learn. No. That's pretty funny. What class is it? OCaml sounds pretty cool. Okay. That's pretty cool. Have a good night. I'm actually going to call it night too. And also the programming languages, that's pretty cool. I wish you best of luck. I hope everyone had fun tonight. I know we chilled for a bit, but I hope everyone did enjoy. Have a good night. Get some rest. Good morning, wherever you are, actually. Good night, good evening, good morning. And make sure you get some rest. And I'll see you hacking. This is my last workshop for the Global Hack Week INIT. I hope to see you at another event. Feel free to always reach out, ping me on the MLH Discord. Everything is pretty fun, so feel free to reach out. Have a good night, everyone. I'm going to leave this on for a bit, and then you can listen to some music as we sign off.